You're at a party, cutting it up with a woman you've had your eye on for a while now. The conversation is flowing like wildfire, full of laughs and those delicious tension-laced pauses. You find yourself leaning in instinctively, hanging on her every word while trying to decipher those fleeting gestures and expressions. But then, a harrowing thought fractures your focus. Is she actually into me like that, or am I totally misreading the situation? You'd give anything in that moment for a neon sign spelling out her true intentions and attraction level. We've all been there far too many times, stranded in maddening uncertainty about whether that intriguing pull of chemistry you're picking up on is one-sided or mutual. Wondering how much you're projecting versus her genuinely craving to take things toward the bedroom. That confusion causes us to either slink back in fear of overstepping or pursue too aggressively out of desperation, both surefire routes to get relegated to the dreaded friend zone. But what if there were a set of nearly unmistakable signs to confirm when a woman's words, actions, and energy language are desperately trying to signal her unspoken lust? In this video, you're going to learn the top 8 hints that clearly reveal when she wants more than just your friendship or platonic company. These subtle yet impressive giveaways bypass her verbal admission to expose the raw truth burning within her feminine core. No longer will you have to joust with angst-ridden speculation about where you stand. You'll wield the power to definitively separate the just looking for attention types from those aching for your touch behind closed doors. So let's dive right into these priceless keys to cut through her mixed signals and ensure you only pursue the connections with genuine erotic potential. Hint number 1, laser-focused eye contact. Remember that tractor beam of electricity you felt from holding her gaze during those inexplicably intense conversation moments? That overwhelming sense of being pancaked by her stare wasn't a figment of your imagination. Prolonged, smoldering eye contact is one of the most natural yet undeniable giveaways that her interest transcends mere friendliness. It's the gateway drug for allowing her imaginings of physical intimacy between you to really take root. See, most women won't be able to resist drinking in the full smorgasbord of your face, those eyes, lips, facial contours if their subconscious is genuinely gnawing over what it might be like to lock lips and explore further. It may be momentary, but that electrifying split second where you two lock high beams sends a shockwave of subatomic intent, like I'm studying every nuance of your expressions because part of me keeps envisioning our bodies intertwined. The longer and more deliberately she sustains that piercing gaze with zero shyness or reflexive pullback, the clearer the sign she's transported herself into the undeniable flow of lust's gravitational forces. You're no longer just a pal, but an object of indulgent fantasy. It doesn't get much more transparent than that kind of laser-focused ing, does it? If she's repeatedly opening those portals to drink in your essence like a starving nomad in the desert, her nether regions are practically hoisting the "y'all ready for this" flag already. Hint number 2, her feet position says everything. While the fervid eye gaze is one of the clearest watermark hints of percolating lust, a woman's subconscious body cues arguably speak even louder volumes about what her visceral drive is hungering for. And when it comes to these telltale gestures, few parts of her somatic psychology shout premeditated sexual intent quite like the direction her feet are pointing during your encounter. You see, we humans are funny creatures. Our conscious minds tend to reveal very little about our primal motivations, but the body has a naturally hardwired GPS system that constantly broadcasts our deepest impulses without filter. So if you catch the woman you're conversing with swiveling her torso and feet to face you in an unnaturally committed way, she's essentially shouting "all systems lock" and coded for penetration through her animalistic body language. Those feet positioning directly towards you, no matter how often she has to readjust to maintain that targeted trajectory, represents a visceral drive to follow through on her urges and lean inward. She's silently commanding her entire corporeal form to eliminate any barriers and prepare for potential intimate scenarios to unfold. After all, would it make any sense evolutionarily for her subconscious to aim and catapult her entire source of balance and mobility directly at you without her hindbrain recognizing raw sexual intent behind that laser guidance system? Obviously not, which is why you can take her foot-leg positioning as one of the most overt physical broadcasts that she's undoubtedly down to clown, even if she's yet to verbalize the thought explicitly. Hint number 3. She innocently brushes against you. While some women are bolder in their flirtations, Many prefer to gauge interest through seemingly innocuous levels of physical escalation. Little moments of fleeting bodily contact deployed under the plausible deniability of accidental circumstances. Things like periodically stumbling into you or gently brushing your arm, thigh, or chest with her hand while gesticulating only to promptly downplay it as incidental and unintentional human clumsiness in the moment. Make no mistake though, fellas, 99% of the time, these feather-light collisions and incidental caressings are absolutely purposeful come-ons being deployed to downshift things beyond verbal rapport into mildly charged terrain. She does it to force a subtle depuration of actual chemistry and tension existing in that precise moment. Does the gentle contact create a silky electric charge in the atmosphere around you, one that gratifyingly suspends time for a sultry beat and causes sharp inward breaths? Or does it fizzle into a dissatisfying nothingness, exposing the lack of true erotic polarity by its deafening silence? She already knows the answer through her own experience of it, but your reactions will confirm or deny her growing suspicions about pursuing anything physical. These unassuming tests of tactile friction let women indulge their curiosities without risking overt rejection or ego bruising. An elegant plausible deniability to turn things up in suggestive theta waves while still maintaining that girlish mystique. If she senses even the faintest buzz of reciprocal charge, the brushes become more frequent and deliberate as the tension escalates. It's her way of checking under the hood for any stalling before cranking the ignition towards something more heated. Hint number 4, fidgeting and coquettish gestures. There's a reason so many male thirst traps tend to involve footage of women twirling their hair, biting their lips, or smoothing out their skirts' dresses. Those idiosyncratic little gestures have been woven into our ancestral mating dances to attract the opposite sex on a subconscious level. And while the behaviors might look like innocuous byproducts of restless energy or poise-focused preening, they're actually magnetic come-hithers radiating alluring pheromones geared to draw you in like a sex-starved lunar moth to a pulsing flame. Hair-tossing fidgeting, crescent lip biting, torso-angling swaying, visible blazing of her body geography, these are all carefully calculated flirtation ballistics testing your susceptibility to her seductive powers. They flaunt the raw hardware she's praying you find desirable. And they don't get rolled out from her biological armory unless that limbic lust seeding system in her brain has already scanned you as a legitimate potential suitor to covet behind closed doors. Why else would she burn the precious fertile energy on such tantalizing exhibitions? If you notice clusters of these fidgets and coy gestures materializing out of seemingly clear blue skies, it's her sexuality's way of wordlessly waving vibrant red banners in your face emblazoned with "come hither and consummate the fiery tension now thickening in the air, sir." Hint number 5, voice inflections shift into sultry territory. While a woman's physicalized gestures and body positioning reveal obvious truths about her internal lust climate, the subconscious she-harmonics of her voice also tend to shift into unmistakably suggestive territory when she's craving you beneath the sheets. You'll notice her vocal tonalities take on an inexplicably sultrier, more resonant quality whenever she addresses you directly. That bubbly, higher-pitched girly tenor gives way to sumptuous, elongated syllables dripping with husky enticement and sensual vibrato. Almost as if she's speaking across a bedroom after passionate lovemaking, rather than just casually conversing with a platonic friend. Her voice literally transforms into an audible siren of undulating feminine sexuality beckoning you into her erotic undertow with each subsequent exhaled phrase. Subconsciously, this vocal ventriloquism of paramour impressions acts as subliminal incitement for you to connect the dots and initiate more steamy activities together. She's role-playing the vibe of a ravenous lovebird already tangled in your intimate embrace, manifesting that reality through her vocal energy in hopes you'll rise to meet her there. Pay especially close attention to any unnecessary elongation of words like "yeah" or "oh really," where she sustains those bedroom intonations beyond what's naturally called for. Those are icebreaker auditions for how she might vocally tease you into escalating your passion if you take the bait. When the feminine hindbrain gets aroused and opening its lush floodgates of desire, the voice inevitably shapeshifts to mimic the amorous reverberations of the sensual inner dreamings now projecting outward. Getting that visceral dose will leave you with zero doubts that she's simply gagging for you to sweep her off her feet and into the bedroom. Hint number 6, she sustains gratuitous physical contact. While innocent incidental brushes signal potentials for more intimate contact, a woman who sustains and prolongs that physical connection is doing so with clear sexual intentions guiding her energy. The key here is that she maintains some form of haptic contract with your body for longer than a passing incident. Things like stroking your arm or bicep with her hand, leaving her knee or calf pressed against yours beneath a table, interlocking arms in a way that forces torso proximity, grazing and caressing areas emphasized for erogenous impact. These connections don't just represent opportunities to indicate interest, but willful portals of initiation through which the erotic energy between you gets stoked and tended. She's quite literally using tactile friction to seed and cultivate the sexual tension, effortlessly flowing it through nerve-dense erogenous regions. If she reciprocates the initial handshake or hug, then rapidly progresses to discovering creative reasons to remain bound to your personal space, she's giving you an unmistakable green light. The longer the tactile improvisation lingers, the stronger she's telegraphing availability for intimacy to spontaneously blossom if you choose to escalate further. This protracted heating up period gives you both time to marinate in the friction's rising charge, to sink into the delirious reverie of it, soon graduating beyond just flirtatious suggestion. Her end goal isn't leaving you wondering whether to make a move, but to feebly resist the inertia now inevitably hurtling you both into more steamy entanglement. Hint number 7. Instigating sensual proximity. Similar to tactile initiation through sustained touch, a woman who forces sensual spatial closeness understands it as an implied initiation of erotic tension. She uses proximity to draw you into her more intimate personal orbits, where the atmospheric charge between you both thickens considerably. You'll notice this dynamic when she finds seemingly any pretext to temporarily isolate you from others while conversing, shifting both of you into secluded corners at a party, or even going so far as to suggest quieter, more private locations to allow uninterrupted one-on-one connection. By enforcing this seclusion, she limits any platonic framing influences that could undermine or diffuse the sexual tension. No pesky friends to obliviously cockblock your momentum or offer Princess and the Pea reminders that you two are just friends through their dialogue. Instead, she's intentionally carving out erotic campfire intimacy, bringing your energies inward to smolder on nothing but the rising heat between your souls, with minimal diffusing distractions. You're now basking in a cone of sensual silence, permitting fantasy to billow unconstrained. These campfire sanctuaries act as springboards into potentially cozier romantic territories for loads of exploratory skinship, gazing into each other's souls over the dancing flames of yearning, and discovering whether the spark holds enough life to consummate later behind closed doors. The stage for intimacy has been properly set and adorned in rose petals. Hint number 8. Unspoken tension acknowledged. The ultimate giveaway that a woman wants to get cravingly physical arrives when she surfaces that deliciously simmering sexual frisson directly into her speech and mannerisms. No longer skirting the bilateral elephant looming over your interaction, but giving it both acknowledgement and validation. This can manifest through loaded innuendos referencing the heated electricity between you two, or overt complimenting of your physical sexual attributes and emanations. Things like, "I can feel there's something different brewing in the air between us when we talk, you know? You have such a powerfully alluring, sexy, intoxicating energy. Did anyone ever tell you that? I keep finding myself wondering what it would be like if we just..." Fades off suggestively. Essentially, she stops treating the romantic erotic tension as some forbidden subtextual aspect to be danced around politely. Through her direct acknowledgement, she's now rendering its existence a willful, unavoidable part of your collective reality together. She's signaling this palpable resonance, calling you two toward potential intimacy is now glaringly impossible for either of you to ignore or rationalize away platonically. That subtle hints and suggestive gestures have given way to smoke signals so thick, escalation is an inevitability unless one of you hits the brakes deliberately. So if she initiates referencing this atmospheric aphrodisiac out loud shamelessly, her message could not be clearer: I want you, all of you, mind, body, and spirit. The spark between us radiates on full blast, and we're now obligated to finally indulge it together wherever it leads. Confirmation doesn't get more deliciously unambiguous than having her overtly validate the tension suffusing the space you share. Now it's just a matter of whether you match her fearless vulnerability and escalate to consummate the deepest cravings you've been scintillating for far too long. There you have it, fellas, the definitive 8 giveaway signs that special someone earnestly craves to make the intimate leap with you beyond just flirtatious energy. This collection of subtle yet deafening nonverbal breadcrumbs should abolish all uncertainties around her true romantic intentions toward you. No longer will you anguish over meticulously deconstructing every microgesture or vocal analysis for hidden clues about her attraction level. These hints cut straight through the noise by revealing when a woman's biology, psychology, and somatic intuitions have aligned an undeniable lust for your company. She'll practically be frothing at the mouth trying to convey her yearnings through these energetic channels while perhaps lacking the courage to be as forward verbally. The blatant hints beckon you to heed their siren song and follow her lead beyond platonic boundaries. Of course, you'll still get the occasional false allure attempting to lure you in through feigned versions of these indicators. But now you're armed with finely tuned sensory recognition of the sincere article versus cheap facsimile. Any facade built on hollow disingenuousness lacks the palpable resonance and organic authenticity of a woman who's flown completely over the lust horizon, where her every breath, mannerism, and molecular oscillation radiates those unmistakable ravish me distress signals with laser precision. So get practiced studying this lingua franca of unspoken feminine invitation. Master discerning the true lust broadcast from hollow mime pantomimes. Inhabit this elevated perception to abolish speculation and ensure you only ever pursue those emanating legitimacy, rather than wasting emotional time and energy pursuing empty mirages. The more attuned you become to these refined feminine languages of seduction, the less time you'll waste trapped in tedious guessing games or chasing hollow platonic infatuations. And the more effortlessly you'll flow between connections radiating erotic potentials worth striking while hot.